Grieve is a extraordinary project I was involved in a while ago in Lake Arrowhead. I got a call from my great friend, wonderful actress, excellent filmmaker, Shannon Forrestall, about doing this project that involved grief and how we deal with grief. And me and her had worked together for several years. We've been friends for about 10. So I agreed because if I knew if she was involved, it was going to be a very worthy project. And the subject matter was something that interests me in the fact that I've been fortunate not to have to deal with a lot of grief, but specifically grief from death of a family member. I, at the time, have never been married, no children. In my family, there's been no deaths in my personal family. So it would be interesting to get involved in a project to have some discoveries. So we worked in Lake Arrowhead. It was about a year and a half ago. And the experience was very enlightening, to say the least. First, it was very cold. And I'm from New Orleans, so we don't get much cold weather here. So I drove up to Lake Arrowhead, and it was freezing, and it was a dangerous drive with ice and snow, but I made it. And it was very surreal working on this specific project. Great cast, great crew. We all kind of slept together in this huge house, ate together, laughed together. And had an experience together. The story of this couple whose son dies from an accident. And the thing with grief is that you'll learn is everybody deals with it differently. There's no one way to grieve. It's just that you have to go through the process. You can't deny it, you can't hide from it, because it will always be there. So to me, the project made me think, what if this happens to me, and what will I do when it does happen? Because over time, people die. And I had an experience about a year ago. I had 4 gentlemen that I went to high school together. We're all the same age, died in a 13-month period. 4 guys that I was pretty close with years ago, but I go to the funeral for one with the 3 other ones with me. Then the next funeral is 2 of us together. The next funeral is 1 of us together. And the last funeral, I'm just still there. And it's just something that I thought about, that notice people grieve differently. Depending on, I guess, who it is and the closeness of the relationship. But this film, this experience, made me think about that a lot. So while shooting the film, even though, like I said, I didn't have a lot of personal grieving experience in the realm of death, I've had other experiences. I just felt something when me and Shannon were playing a couple, and we had lost a child. Kind of felt, this is real. So if this is real, how would I react to it? And from my point of view, I took the position of being there for my significant other, for my wife, for my spouse, being there for her, because traditionally, I'm pretty stoic, and I keep things on the inside. And so when you have a counterpart or a partner that's the opposite of that, for me, I would tend to be there to support that person. So that was kind of my experience, that if this were to happen to me in real life, what position would I take? And I take more of a support person, a caregiver, looking out for the other person. Because instinctively, I would probably be more keeping my emotions to myself, and maybe exploring them and expressing them to my partner in private. So it was a experience that gave me new insight to who I was and how I react to a specific emotional situation. So for that, I was grateful that I had an opportunity to participate in the film because it gave me an outlet, or it gave me a sense of what would I do. And there's a lot of what you would do in different situations, but this is a situation that would be something that's inevitable, but something that we all may not think about on a daily basis. But at the end, I'm hoping this film can help people who have in the past have trouble with dealing with grief, because there's no one way to deal with grief. We're all different human beings. We have different experiences, different values, different ways we look at the world. So we will not all grieve the same way, even though there are books and you can go to seminars and you can go to counseling. Each individual has a different way in which they deal with loss. And this is a loss, whether it's a death of a child, whether it's a loss of a love, whether it is a disappointment of something that you aspire to do, it's all a loss. And probably based on our experiences and our values and our history, we have different ways of dealing with that. And I think this film shows you that it's okay. It is okay to experience and to go through the process and to have an emotional outlet that you can get past this grieving process. And not be concerned with what other people think, being judged, or whether it's right or wrong. It's your way. It's your way. And if you want to grieve, grieve. I think it's better to grieve than to hold it in, because that just delays the process and it may manifest into something that may be negative in your life. So I think it's best to deal with it, to look at it, and to accept it for what it was. I think in this film, you see that we took different paths, but we got to common ground, and we were able to let go at the end. Now, letting go doesn't mean you have to forget, but holding on to the point where it affects you in a negative way, I don't think that's healthy. But I think dealing with it is much more healthier. So, in saying that, I hope that anybody who sees the film will enjoy it for what it is, and if it can help someone to give you some strength, some confidence, some insight, or help you in any way dealing with any type of loss that you have today, I would be, I would feel good that I was able to participate in something that can bring comfort and relief to another person.